The sky was quiet, almost too quiet. In the dusty, sunburnt village of Darapur, nestled between two forgotten hills, life had always moved slowly. Chickens clucked lazily through the dirt lanes, elders told stories under banyan trees, and kids chased dragonflies without a care in the world. But that peace was about to be shattered. A single bark, sharp, shrill, and panicked, pierced the air like a warning shot. It came from a tiny ball of fluff named Bhola. Just a few weeks old, barely the size of a brick, Bhola had only recently been adopted by an old widow named Amma John. The villagers had laughed when she brought him home. Too small to bark, too weak to walk, they teased. But Amma John saw something different in him. His heart is louder than his bark, she would whisper, cradling him in her arms. That morning, the sun was still climbing when Bhola began barking non-stop near the edge of the rice fields. The sound was unusual, more urgent than playful. Rafiq, a teenage boy gathering firewood nearby, looked up in confusion. "What's wrong, Bhola?" he called, stepping closer. And then he saw it. A massive cobra, nearly 7 feet long, coiled in the tall grass. Its hood flared wide, hissing menacingly. It wasn't just any cobra. This one was known, feared. It had been spotted slithering around the village outskirts for weeks, but no one had ever gotten this close. No one had dared. Rafiq froze. Bhola didn't. He barked louder. His tiny legs shook, but he stood his ground, positioning himself between the snake and a small path that led into the village center, where children played, where lives could be lost in a second. "Bhola, run!" Rafiq shouted, but Bhola didn't listen. In that moment, something primal kicked in. Perhaps it was loyalty, perhaps instinct, or maybe it was simply love. Bhola surged forward, yapping furiously, darting left and right to confuse the cobra. The snake lunged, missing him by inches. Again, and again. Meanwhile, Rafiq sprinted to the village. "Somp! Somp! There's a cobra in the field. Bhola's out there." Within seconds, chaos erupted. Men grabbed sticks and axes. Women called their children indoors. Dust rose like smoke as dozens ran toward the danger. But by the time they arrived, the scene was frozen in disbelief. Bhola stood just feet from the snake, his fur bristling, his eyes locked in unblinking defiance. The cobra hissed one last time, and, as if defeated, slithered back into the forest. He chased it off," someone whispered. No one could believe it. A pup barely able to climb a stair had stared down a monster, and won. Amma John wept silently, scooping Bhola into her arms. "You brave little fool," she whispered, pressing him close. "You saved us. You saved my home." That night, the village didn't sleep. Lamps burned bright as stories spread. The fields where Bhola had stood became sacred ground. Kids lit candles. Elders bowed their heads in respect. And Bhola? He lay curled on a blanket in Amma John's lap, tail wagging slowly, eyes closing to soft lullabies. But the danger wasn't over. The next morning, villagers discovered a fresh trail in the mud. Cobra tracks, twice as many as the day before. And this time, they were heading into the village. Someone, or something, wasn't done yet. / To be continued in Section 2. Morning in Darapur was never silent again. Rumors flew like sparks on dry hay. "It's coming back. There's more than one. The nest must be nearby." Anxiety clung to the air. Children were no longer allowed near the fields. Men walked with sticks. Even birds seemed quieter, as if nature itself was holding its breath. But Bhola didn't change. If anything, he was more alert. He'd sit near Amma John's door, ears perked, nose twitching. He'd patrol the alley behind the grain sheds. And every night, like clockwork, he'd bark toward the tree line, warning whatever lurked out there, "Not here. Not again." ***. 3 days passed. Then it happened. It was late evening. Lanterns glowed like fireflies, and villagers were gathered in the community courtyard, trying to distract their restless hearts with old songs and spiced tea. That's when the screaming began. A sharp, blood-curdling scream from little Zara. "Help! Baba! Something's in the hut." Her hut was on the edge of the village, the closest to the woods. People ran. Rafiq was the first to reach her. He kicked the door open and froze. A snake, darker and thicker than the one before, coiled atop a pile of firewood. It was too close, too ready. Zara had tripped trying to escape and was now cornered against the wall, her small body trembling. Then, in a blur of fur and fury, Bhola charged in. He didn't wait for orders, didn't pause. He darted between Rafik's legs, barking with a ferocity no one believed possible from a dog his size. The snake lunged. Bhola jumped sideways. Again. Another strike. Another dodge. He was faster now, smarter. Every movement was measured, deliberate. Rafik grabbed Zara and pulled her outside. Go. Go tell the others. Inside, Bhola kept the cobra dancing. By the time the men arrived with bamboo poles, Bhola had lured the snake out of the hut entirely, into the open where the villagers could see it clearly. They didn't wait. Stick after stick came down. The snake writhed, hissed, fought, but it was over within moments. The monster lay still, but Bhola didn't get up. There was silence. Rafik knelt beside him. Bhola? A faint whimper. Blood. A bite on his shoulder. The snake had struck him during the final lunge. No, no, no. Please no. Amajan sobbed, falling beside him. Not my Bhola. Not now / not like this. They wrapped him in a warm shawl, trying to keep him awake. His breathing was shallow, tail twitching weakly. Someone shouted, "The herbalist. Run to the next village. They have snake root and saltwater compresses." 2 boys ran, fast as wind, into the night. Everyone else gathered around Bhola, whispering prayers, stroking his fur. Zara clung to Amajan, tears falling silently down her cheeks. "I was so scared," she whispered. "But he came for me, he came." Time slowed. 1 hour passed. Then 2. Finally, the boys returned, breathless, muddy, but clutching a bundle of leaves and a cracked clay pot. The village healer took over. She mashed the herbs, boiled water, and applied the pungent paste to Bola's wound. She didn't speak, just worked. Eyes focused, hands shaking. And then the wait. Bhola lay still. The fire crackled. Owls hooted in the trees. And just when hope began to slip, he sneezed. A loud, pitiful little sneeze. Everyone gasped. "Again!" Amajan cried. "Do it again." Bhola whimpered softly. His tail gave a tiny wag. His eyes opened barely. But it was enough. The crowd cheered. People hugged. Even the healer laughed. But not all danger was gone. At sunrise, the village elders gathered. 2 cobras in 3 days. Children in danger. Homes invaded. Something had changed in the forest. They needed answers. So they made a decision. Rafik would lead a search party into the jungle to find the source. And Bhola, still weak but fiercely alert, insisted on going too. The forest was waiting. / to be continued in Section 3. The jungle greeted them with silence. A silence so thick it clung to their skin like sweat. Rafik held his breath as he stepped over roots and thorny vines. Behind him followed 2 strong men, both carrying sticks wrapped in cloth soaked in kerosene, makeshift torches, unlit for now. And padding quietly at his side was Bhola, still limping, still determined. The healer had warned against it. "He's not strong enough," she said. But Bhola had refused to stay. Every time they tried tying him down, he cried. Every time they left without him, he howled. Rafik looked down at him. "You really think we need you, don't you?" Bhola wagged his tail once. The group reached the edge of the bamboo grove, the place where the first cobra had slithered from. Bhola stopped, nose twitching, ears alert. Then he growled. "Low. Steady." Rafik followed his gaze. And that's when he saw it, between 2 large stones, nearly hidden by underbrush, a hole. The kind of hole that doesn't occur naturally. They cleared the area carefully, and what lay underneath shocked them. A nest. Inside were 4 cobra eggs, round, pale, and pulsing faintly with life. And coiled protectively around them was another cobra, bigger, meaner, eyes glowing gold in the filtered sunlight. The air froze. Bhola barked. The cobra hissed. But something strange happened. It didn't lunge. It didn't strike. It simply stared, and slowly backed away. It slithered into the forest without a fight. "Is that it?" one of the men asked. Rafik shook his head. "I think she knew. We're not here to destroy. We're just scared. And so is she." They buried the eggs far away in the forest, safe, away from the village, and sealed the nest with rocks. That night, for the first time in a week, Darapur slept. And Bhola? He became a legend. The villagers built him a little shelter at the edge of the rice fields, where he could watch over everyone. Children brought him treats. Elders blessed him every morning. Even the head priest declared, "There are gods, and then there are guardians like Bhola." But Bhola never acted like a hero. He still slept in Amajan's lap, chased his own tail, and barked at his reflection in puddles. One day, a reporter from the city arrived. He'd heard the tale, thought it was made up. But when he saw the villagers' eyes as they spoke of Bhola, when he saw the healed scar on the pup's shoulder, when he felt the silence in the forest, he knew. He filmed a short documentary, called it The Heart of a Pup. It went viral. People from across the country sent gifts, blankets, food, toys. A group of children in another village even started a club called Bola's Brave Ones. But for Darapur, the biggest gift was peace. Peace bought not by weapons, not by fear, but by a little dog who stood his ground. And every time someone asked, why did he do it? Why did he fight so hard? Amajan would smile and say, because Bhola never saw himself as small, and he loved this village like it was his whole world. And maybe it was the end.